Hi, I'm Paul. We're doing Leetcode must-know interview questions. Today's challenge is basic calculator. It's rated hard. It's probably on the low end of hard, I would say. Given a string S representing a valid expression, implement a basic calculator to evaluate it and then return the result of the evaluation. You are not allowed to use any built-in function which evaluates strings as mathematical expressions, such as eval. Okay, well, looking at these examples, it looks like, it looks like doing division or multiplication is not required. Addition and subtraction are required. There is no consistency as far as spaces between any of the characters. So, 1 plus 1 like this, that's fine. But if you wanted to put them all together, 2 minus 1 like this, yeah, that's okay. This one even has a space at the beginning. All right. And then this one is all, kind of jammed together. Okay. Well, if you're going to do a calculator, usually you would have you might have two stacks, an operator stack and an operand stack. In this case, I don't think that's necessary because we don't have multiplication and division. We don't have operators that have different priorities. So the string can just be evaluated in order. If it's just addition and subtraction, then we can execute those as we see them. We do have to account for parentheses, and we do have to account for spaces, I suppose, just by ignoring them. But let's look at what an implementation of this might look like. Actually, before we do that, let's take a look at the constraints down here. There is a constraint on the length of the string. It can be pretty long. It's going to consist of digits, plus, minus, parentheses, open and close, and a space. Plus is not used as a unary operation. Okay, that's good to know. A minus sign could be used as a unary operation. There will be no two consecutive operators in the input, and every number and running calculation will fit in a signed 32-bit integer, which, if we're using Java, means an int. All right, I was thinking that I was not going to do this, but now I think I will do it. I think it would be a little bit more clear what's going on here, particularly with regard to the parentheses. So there's a couple of things that we need to keep track of. One would be the sum. Let's call it sum. And one would be sign. Okay. Now, initially, the sum is going to be 0. Initially, the sign, this will just be one, or, well, let's see, what are we going to use for the sign? This will be 1 or -1, but initially the sign will be positive. All right. We're just going to loop through. Let's do example 3 here. This is the trickiest one. All right. Let's look at the first character. First character is a open parentheses. All right. whenever we have open parentheses, that's kind of like we've got to save the current state of the computation. We've got to do what's in the parentheses. We've got to get a result, and then we've got to work it back into the computation. So in order to save the state of the current computation, let's say that we have a stack here. Okay. So if we see a parentheses, we're going to push the current sum, and in fact here we do see, well, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that or not. It's too hard to keep track of that way. Let's just do it like this. We do see a parentheses right here. All right, so we're going to push the sum, which is 0. We're going to push the sign, which is 1. And we're going to start over. We're going to set sum and sign to 0 and 1. Well, in this case, they already are 0 and 1. So we go to the next number, or the next character, which is a 1. All right. If the character is a digit, what we're going to do is we are going to loop until we don't see any more digits. And then we are going to treat that as a value. And in this case, we don't have any consecutive digits, but we could, we could have something like 1, 2, 3 plus, etc. In that case, what we're going to do is we're going to have a loop. All right. And as long as we're seeing digits and we haven't hit the end of the string, we're going to take our value, multiply it times 10, and add the new digit. And again, so we get a 1, but then we have, it's followed by a 2. So we multiply 1 times 2, we get 10. And then we add the 2. Now we have 12. That's followed by a 3. All right, multiply the 12 times 10, we get 120. Then we add the 3, we have 123. That's our whole, that is our whole digit there. So, in this case, we just have a single digit. So we will call that, actually, let's, I didn't mean to do that. Let's add another variable here and call it val. All right, so val, in this case, is 1. All right, so now we're going to change sum. Sum is going to be equal to sum plus val times sign. All right, that means is sum is now equal to 1. We're going to reset the sign to 1, and we are going to, yeah, no, that's fine. We're going to go to the next operator. It's a plus. We are going to treat plus as the default operator. Okay? We don't really need to do anything with it. We'll subtract things when we need to subtract them. Otherwise, we'll just assume that we're going to add things. All right? The next character is a parentheses. So, again, we need to push the sum, which is 1. We need to push the sign, which is 1. We need to set sum to 0 because we're starting over again inside the parentheses. We need to set the sign to 1. The sign is already 1. All right. Next, the next character is a digit. So we will set that to val. That's the whole, that is the whole value. So at this point, we're going to say that the sum equals sum plus val times sine. Val times sine is 4. Sum is 4. Next character is plus. We are ignoring that. It's our default. Next character is a 5. All right, so when we read that, val is going to become 5. Sum is going to be sum plus val times sine, which is 4 plus 5, and that is 9. I'm going to run out of space here. The sign is 1. We're going to go to the next character, which is a plus. We're going to ignore that, and then the next character is 2. All right. Val is going to equal 2. Sum is going to equal sum plus val times sine. So that means it's going to go to 11. Next character is a closed parentheses. Oh boy. You know what? I'm going to take that out. It's just too far over. It's this closed parentheses right here. What do you do with a closed parentheses? We need to keep track of that for a minute, because what we need to do is we're done with what's inside the parentheses, and we have the value, which is 11. So we are going to pop the stack. This is going to give us a popped sign. Just to abbreviate that, I'm going to call it a PS, popped sign. That is here, and it is a 1. We are going to get a, oh gosh, well, okay, so we only need this for a minute, so we're going to call it previous sum. The previous sum was, and again we'll pop it, it was 1. All right, so the sum is now going to be equal to the sum times the pop sign, just still 11, plus the previous sum, which is 12. Okay, good. And actually, let's go through the subtraction. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but let's go through the subtraction. All right, next character is a minus. If we see a minus, then we multiply the sign times -1. We're reversing the sign. Okay, the sign is now -1. Next number is right here. Once we get past that, the next thing that happens is that val is going to go to 3. Okay, and what is the next character? The next character is a closed parentheses. All right, I just realized I got ahead of myself here. Don't go to the parentheses yet. We're still on the 3. All right, once we got the value for the 3, the sum will now equal the sum plus value times sign. Value is 3, sign is -1. So 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3, we are at 9. All right, now we can go to the closed parentheses. That's not really going to do anything as far as, but okay. So we will pop the sign again, right here. Popped sign, it's already 1. Previous sum, well, the previous sum was 0. So we'll take that out. Previous sum is now 0. And what we're going to do is say that the sum equals the sum times the popped sign plus the previous sum. 9 times 1 plus 0 is 9. So by the time we get to where we've gotten here, we should have a sum of 9. Is that right? It's 1 plus 11, just 12, minus 3 is 9. Okay, and we would continue in this fashion. So let's see what an implementation of this would look like. Okay. It might help have a pen here. Let's do that. All right. So the state of the state of the calculation that we need to keep track of is we need to keep track of the sum and the sign. Here we have a stack, which we're going to use to handle parentheses, and then a loop goes all the way through the string. Get the next character. All right, if the character, oh, I can't write and scroll at the same, well, there's no point in making these little tick marks anyway. All right, read the next character. If the character is a digit, then we're going to create a variable called val. We are going to, as long as I is less than the length of the string, that is, I mean, the number could be the last thing in the string. We don't want to overrun the string, and the character is a digit. We're going to convert the character to an int by subtracting the character 0. And we are going to multiply by 10, add the character until we're done. So then we've got the val, including possibly a multi-digit val. We are going to multiply the val times the current sign, add it to the sum. Set the sign to 1. Any previous negative signs have already been handled, so we're going to set the sign back to 1. This I minus minus means that in the process of doing this loop, to know where to end the loop, we had to run I past the end of the integer. So the next time that we read something, we're going to miss an integer unless we back it up 1. So we have to do that. All right, what if the character is a negative sign? Then we flip the sign variable. What if the character is an open parentheses? All right, then we push the sum, push the sign. We've got to keep track of that. And now we are in a different world. We're inside the parentheses. We start over again with sum is 0, sign is 1. What if the character is an empty, or I'm sorry, a closed parentheses? Well, in that case, we pop the sign, pop the sum, and the sum is going to be equal to sum, and keep in mind that this is the sum inside the parentheses. Sum times the popped sign times the plus the previous sum. All right. All right, let's run and see what happens. Okay, good. Submit. And that is a basic calculator. Hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to like, subscribe, comment, and see you next time.